This is KGW News at noon.
And the big news today, Ukraine and Russia agreeing to safe passage for civilians escaping all the fighting. Hello, everyone. I'm Brenda Braxton. The announcement came after the second round of face-to-face talks between the two countries. We do have a photo of that delegation. They agreed to create safe corridors for civilians to leave and humanitarian aid to arrive. Both sides say they'll hold a third round of talks soon. In the meantime, Russian President Vladimir Putin met with his Security Council today. He praised Russian soldiers and officers, calling them heroes. Putin also told the council that Russia's attacks on Ukraine are going according to plan. So far, more than 1 million Ukrainians have fled to neighboring countries, including Poland. NBC's Jay Gray is along the border today and reports seeing something new: men traveling back to Ukraine.
Hey, we're at the Medica border crossing. I want to give you an idea of what's going on right now. You can see it right now, people coming across the border, families walking across, and we've seen that throughout the day here today. People that are making the journey, fleeing Ukraine and into Poland. As the fighting escalates in Ukraine, so does the flow of people coming out of the country. But I want to show you something that we haven't seen until really today, and that's people going into the country. Look at this line, and it goes for more than a mile. You've got vans, you've got personal cars. Most of them are filled with items, supplies that they can take over and help those who are continuing to fight here. We've seen cars with blankets, jackets, clothes. We've seen fuel going in. We've seen generators going in. Again, these are all people who have just decided we've got to do something to help. We're trying to find a way to help those who are staying inside. That's the latest right now here along the Poland-Ukraine border. I'm Jay Gray. Back to you.
A local nonprofit is sending medical supplies to Ukraine. Yesterday, Medical Teams International shipped out donations from area hospitals and agencies. They include everything from syringes and surgical kits to tubing for oxygen tanks. For more information on how you can help, head to medicalteams.org and stay with us for continuing coverage. Look for updates on Ukraine on air and on our website, kgw.com. Here in Oregon, lawmakers will wrap up their short session very soon. One of the bills getting a lot of attention would pay farm workers overtime and give farmers a tax credit. It already passed the House, and we expect the Senate to vote on it today. Another notable measure came about after last June's deadly heat wave when almost 100 Oregonians died. The bill would ensure that renters can install air conditioning in their homes. The Senate has signed off now. This one heads to the House. Lawmakers have to be done with their session no later than March 7th, which is coming up on Monday. Any bills that they pass will then need the governor's signature to become law. All right, let's take a live look outside this afternoon from our Rose City Sky Cam. Boy, everything kind of looks the same color, gray. It is overcast on your Thursday afternoon. Let's check in with Chris McGinnis. He's in for Rod, who's on assignment this afternoon. And Chris, we have had a lot of rain the last few days. Are we done yet?
Almost 3.23 inches of rain here in Portland since Saturday afternoon. We're almost done, but we still have a couple more showers to get through. Case in point, here's the live scan from our radar. You can see a couple of green and yellow blobs on the map, indicative of where some of the heavier pockets of rain. In fact, we've got one passing over southeast Portland right now and another one going through the West Hills. And as we put this into motion over the last 6 hours, one thing we are watching is this little spin in the clouds here off the Olympic Peninsula, now diving south from Vancouver Island and into the northwest corner of Washington State. That low, that center, will drive southward during the afternoon. So that will keep the clouds and the threat for some on and off showers, not only for this afternoon, but probably trickling a little bit into the day on Friday as well. So keep that in mind. We still have the shower chance for probably the next 24 hours or so. It's 50, last check at PDX, and the temperature forecast across the region. Futurecast has most of the Willamette Valley kind of holding steady right at 50. We get into the mid-50s out towards the Dalles and eastern Oregon after a bit of a chilly start, getting up into the upper 30s or so out towards Baker City. The weekend, I can tell you, looks a lot better, especially if you're looking for an opportunity to dry out. I'll show you that coming up in just a few minutes, Brenda.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Chris. Well, we are just over a week away from the end of Oregon's universal mask mandate, and state education and health leaders are laying out new COVID plans for schools. After March 12th, districts will control how they manage masking and other restrictions. But yesterday, state leaders offered some guidelines. They suggest getting rid of extensive contact tracing. There's no need to quarantine if you're exposed to COVID, only if you test positive. But schools should notify anyone in the same classroom or on the same bus route as an infected person. In terms of testing, the state recommends parents be able to opt in.
This is a time we feel we can safely make these changes without increasing the physical risk of spread of COVID and maintain that goal of keeping students in desks in front of talented teachers every day for the remainder of the school year.
Not everyone feels comfortable with the mask optional guidelines, especially those who are immunocompromised or live with someone who is. State officials are asking everyone for patience and compassion during this transition. Portland Public projects dropping enrollment next year, so it's cutting teachers. During Tuesday's board meeting, PPS said funding is often tied to enrollment numbers. And with fewer students, the district anticipates less money. The president of the Portland Teachers Union says that she's been told almost 100 teaching positions are getting cut.
As of late last week, I was told it is still 65 elementary teachers, and now it is 31 middle school teachers and a few other PE teachers at the elementary level.
KGW reached out to PPS for comment. It says it's projecting that fewer than 90 teaching positions will be cut next year. Oregonians are joining the national fight against anti-transgender efforts in the state of Texas. The governor there ordered the state to investigate parents who seek gender-affirming medical care for their kids. Galen Etlin reports.
Crowds protested in Texas this week after Governor Greg Abbott's recent directive against families of transgender youth.
It's dire. Yeah, it's a very, very dire situation.
George Brantley and his mom, Carrie, moved from Texas to Portland about 5 years ago. George is 13 and trans.
People accepting who you are is a very big privilege.
A privilege he knows is scarce. Texas officials' reinterpretation of the law says providing gender-affirming medical care is child abuse. That includes hormone treatment and puberty blockers, which are reversible, and gender reassignment surgeries, which are not done on children anyway.
100% based on misinformation.
Concerted effort and a coordinated effort.
Jen Burleton runs the Transactive Gender Project at Lewis and Clark College, advocating for the trans community for 16 years. She says nationwide campaigns by far-right groups are pushing a false narrative.
Complete disinformation. There are no medical surgical interventions being performed on children anywhere in the United States.
Completely unfounded.
Dr. Kara Connolly is a pediatric endocrinologist at Dornbecker Children's Hospital, providing gender-affirming care to youth.
Face a lot of challenges in being able to access care. It's important for me to work to try to break down some of the barriers.
The Human Rights Campaign says a record 34 states introduced anti-transgender bills last year. NBC reported 7 states added new ones in just the first week of 2022. A national survey by the Trevor Project showed 94% of LGBTQ youth reported recent politics negatively impacted their mental health. 42% seriously considered suicide, including half of trans and non-binary youth. Basic care that acknowledges their existence goes a long way.
Is medically necessary and life-saving.
A year-long JAMA Network study of transgender youth showed that gender-affirming health care led to a 60% decrease in moderate to severe depression and a 74% decrease in self-harm and suicidal thoughts.
Where do we go from here?
You have to speak up.
Knowing the most impacted people may not have the power to speak up themselves.
For those youth who are watching this, what would your message be to them?
Knowing yourself is the deepest truth, and that there are allies out here.
That we see you and we believe you and you are cared for.
Transgender children are perfect.
They're perfect.
Exactly the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
Galen Etlin, KGW News.
Portland City Council passed a year-round ban on fireworks. That means no lighting them off, no selling them. The only exception, big public displays with a permit. The ban will take effect April 1st. Commissioner Joanne Hardesty, who oversees the Fire Bureau, says the ban is for the safety of the community as we adapt to climate change. A rep from TNT Fireworks is against the ban, saying education and awareness is a better solution. Well, a 19-mile stretch of Highway 224 is on schedule to reopen May 1st. The road east of Estacada has been closed since it was engulfed by the Riverside fire in September of 2020. Crews are installing mesh and other safety measures to prevent rock falls. ODOT says drivers may experience delays throughout the summer as work on that highway continues.